G'day mateys, today another new episode. We're going to replace some of the joysticks in the Joy-Cons on Nintendo Switch. So let's get them here on the table. And there we go, a set of Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. Now both of these have the dreaded drift. This one drifts over this way, this one drifts over this way. So they've got to be fixed. So we have the parts here, relatively inexpensive. Held in with two screws once you pull them all apart. And here's your little magical ribbon cable. So we're going to pull these apart and get on with it. So there's 4 screws to get this started. We'll concentrate on this one firstly, and we'll come back to this one later. So let's flip her over. Now this one is a tri-wing screw. So it's not like a Phillips because it's only got 3. Phillips has 4. Let's see if you can see that nice and clearly. Hopefully so. We get that, pop it in like so, and we pull her open. So there's one screw removed. Part box C. Get in here for the next one. There we go. Should be a nice quick little episode today. So let's put all 4 of those in there so I won't lose them. So now we've got to pop this open. You can see there's still charge in this one. So let's just have a bit of a squeeze. They actually sealed it really well. They've done a really good job of sealing these up. So just get my fingernail in there. We'll pry it open. There we go. A little bit more, and there we go. So you've got to be careful because it's still attached here. So the next thing we'll actually have to do is to pull out the battery and move on. Back in 1 sec. So here we go. So the battery, we have just... So firstly, these 2 here are not the battery. They're to do with the little rumble motor down here. So the battery is this one at the bottom here, this black one. So we just need to get him out. Actually, let's see if we can pop the battery out of its little casing first. It'll be easier to get at. So the battery is most likely going to be glued in here. There we go. As you see, the battery connector is this one just here. So he's now out, battery's out of the way. Now, the Joy-Con is here. You can see the back of it just here. So what we need to do, we need to pull out a screw here, a screw here, and a screw here. They're Phillips head screws. And then we can pull this little section out here. So, put this back down. Don't forget that's a tri-wing, so let's grab our Phillips screwdriver. That's one screw out. Into there. There we go. You've got to be very careful that you don't annoy any of these other cables that are here. So let's just see if we can pull this up nicely. So as we pull this up, so let's move this Wi-Fi antenna out of the way, the Bluetooth Wi-Fi. Okay, so this moves over here like so. Now there is a cable here that's connected just down here. So let's just pop that open. So it has a little thing to open it and then just slide that up. We can remove that like so. Now here is our Joy-Con. Now you can actually see that they've revised this because there's now a little dent in the back of this one. So this is a slightly newer rendition, so hopefully it doesn't get the drift. Again, we've got this here, just flick this. Let's flick this up. See how that's now flicked up? If you can see just there. And then we can now slide this cable out. There we go, the cable's out. Now we have 2 screws to remove the Joy-Con. I should say the joystick. The Joy-Con is a whole unit, so the joystick. 1 screw there. There's the other screw. And right, okay. We get that out like so. We need that screw there to put the next one in. So here is our damaged one. You actually see it's not quite round anymore. It's had lots of use. So there we go. Straightforward. Put that aside. And here is our nice new one. So the new one, obviously, we pop into place. Now there is a bit of a, can you see here, there's a bit of a seal around here. So make sure that that seal is still in place. Here's our new one. Pop in the right way around so the ribbon cable goes up towards that connector. You can actually probably slide that into the connector now to make it a bit easier for yourself later. Or you can just place it in. So there we go, that's in there. Pop a couple of screws back in. Don't forget, whenever you're putting in screws into plastic, always turn it the wrong way first. I'm going to put this down on the ground, just make it a little bit easier. And did you see what just happened there? When I dropped this, this one popped out and the spring has come out. So I'm going to put all that back together again. Look at that, it's actually quicker to pull these apart than it is to put them back together. So he's in the hole. That's one. And that's fine. Now we just got to pop him into his little connector there. Might just have to get a pair of tweezers. Back in one sec. So I've got a pair of tweezers. So we'll just go in here. I think that's in place. Lock that down. I'll just check that it's in. Yep, there we go. So I'll just pop this back in and we will start reassembling. So as you can see, the battery terminal is back in, everything else is all in place. So now we just move this back around, clip it in, make sure that none of the ribbon cables are getting caught on anything. There we go, nice little click there. That's looking good. So now we'll pop the screws back in. there we go. That is all now back together, all the 4 screws. So that one is now done. So a big thumbs up, and we'll do the other one. So here's the other one. This one is slightly differently because it's the opposite side. So we'll pull out these 4 screws again. Throw it back over there. And again, like last time, we just need to pry this open. Hear it clicking away. Never use metal on plastic because it will bend it and mark it. So if you've got fingernails, use your fingernail. If not, just use a plastic pry tool. They're quite inexpensive. So there we go, that's that side done. So you see, it's the reverse of the other one. So again, we need to go in here and remove the battery. So you go in here, you could just actually, with these battery terminals, you can just flick them up. There you go, that's undone. That's it, disconnected. Now just need to get the battery out, so just along the edge. There we go, glue's giving way. Beautiful. Battery's out. Now see, the screws are a bit different in this one. Last one it was up here, down here. On this one it's just here, here, and here to take out this tray. So get our Phillips screwdriver again. So it's these slightly goldy coloured screws. The 2 silver ones you can see are actually for the Joy-Con that we want to be removing, I believe. I could be wrong. I haven't taken this side apart before. That's 1 screw. Again, just pull this up nice and slow. Oh, now this one I actually don't have to disconnect. I can just move it over because there's plenty of room to get in here. So those screws I saw, not. So it's this one here, and one just under this ribbon cable here. So probably going to have to undo that ribbon cable, sadly. So let's get onto it and make this happen. So again, we'll flick this up. There we go. This cable can then just be pulled out. There we go. Yeah, that cable will have to come out, so I have to just lift this here and move, just pull him away if we can. There we go. So just move him out of the way so you can get to it. Go in here. Under the cable, don't stab the cable. Remove that screw. There we go. Remove the other screw. And remember I said about that gasket? You can see the gasket there just catching around just in here, the gasket. You just need to make sure you scoot that out and leave that gasket in place. So there's the faulty one. And here's our nice new one. I can tell the new one's because it's got the different design on the back. So you've got this little dome, as the original one has nothing. So make sure you rotate this the right way. So it's going to go that way in here. Make sure you go through the grommet. There we go. The cable's out of the way. That's good. Now listen to this. If you feel a click, that means you can then go back in on the original threads. Okay, move that ribbon out the way. There we go, that feels good. So now I need to pop that ribbon back in. So make sure that this little tab here is still pushed up, out of the way. These tweezers are not the best, I have now found out. I'll do it with my fingers. Okay, that's halfway in place now. Then we just push it in, see how that moved in there. And once that's in place, we can now just lock it down. Then we can just check it's in. Yep, that's in. The next one is this other ribbon cable here. So I'll have to pull this up. Just need to thread him under there, so we'll just, there we go. Pull that one back around. Dog hair out of the way. You might actually hear occasionally that I have dogs. You might hear them walk around on the floor. You might hear them bark if I don't get it edited out. So we have Archie, Mindy and Willow. So we have 3 of the rascals. Mindy and Archie are Samoyed, so they're big, white, fluffy. That was one of their hairs. Then we have Willow, who's a rough collie, which is kind of like Lassie, if you remember Lassie, but she's what they call a tricolour. You might see them on camera occasionally. Look, I'm just going to grab a different pair of tweezers and I'll be right back. There we go, so I've got these tweezers instead, so I was able to get that in. So now we'll just flick that back over. There we go. And I'll pop this other section back on that I took off it, which made it a little bit easier. And we'll then start the reassembly. Okay, so you can see all the cables are back in. It's a little tricky. Had to get the little right angle tweezers and do a little bit of praying, and we got it back in. So that's fine. So now, flip this back around. Make sure that sits in there nicely. Button's working, yes. Now we need to pop these 3 screws back in, so 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so they're all back in, so now we just need to pop this battery back in and we are done. So, not that way, it must be that way, there we go. The battery terminal, just you basically lay it in there and then just push it down. So, battery lay terminal in, and hear that snap, and then you'll see that the LEDs are all dancing down the side here. Check that is in properly. There we go. Awesome. So now we'll put it back together, pop the screws in, and we're done. So for today, thanks guys. That was just a really quick little video on how to replace your drifting thumbsticks. Not much to them. They just get old, dirty, and start doing drifts. So you guys know what to do. Thumbs up, thumbs down, subscribe, tell your friends, and now you know how to fix those drifting Joy-Cons. Bye for now.